few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you'll be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you'll be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless. As the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Don't wait until they've passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let pride and excitement overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated, but don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduation information desk in the exhibition centre where you collected your gown and tickets 30 minutes after the ceremony to collect your parchment. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, remain in your seats, instructions will be given, and we will escort you to the nearest exit. As graduates, you will join an international community of over 130,000 York alumni in 183 countries. The York Alumni Association organises many events, networks and services designed to help you make connections with other alumni around the world and boost your career prospects. After the ceremony, please visit the Alumni Association stand and photo booth at the Exhibition Centre, where you can pick up your graduation gift to welcome you into the association. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding career paths that you take will help us provide the right support for current students and make sure we offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Finally, please turn your mobile phones to silent, and will you all now please stand?
Graduands, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ceremony at the University of York. Please be seated. On behalf of the whole university, please allow me to extend the warmest of welcomes to everybody here, to those who are graduating this afternoon, to those of you who are friends and family, to members of staff, but also to those who will be observing these proceedings on the live stream that is going out from York this afternoon. I'd particularly like to thank those who have come great distances to join us this afternoon, and demonstrating thereby their support for you, our graduands, and also for this wonderful institution. These degree awarding ceremonies are hugely important in so many different respects. They're so important because of the formality of the event, because of those upon whom I am about to confer degrees are turned from being graduands to being graduates. And it's not just a change in name, it's a change in status. But also, it's not just a formal ceremony, it's a celebration. We're here to mark the achievements of the students with us today, the majority of whom are postgraduate students. In other words, they've already undertaken a degree, they're here for more, and I hope many will come back for even more, because one of the remarkable characteristics amongst the graduates today is the number of those who have done a PhD. And a PhD is that acme of academic attainment. It's that commitment to spend at least 3 years full-time studying. And I know amongst many of you here today it will have been more than 3 years, because it's almost impossible in some disciplines to complete the work in 3 full-time years. In an increasingly focused and narrow area of study in which an individual can actually make a contribution to knowledge. For me, that's both the sort of romantic idealization of a PhD, but also reflects the ambition of those of you who have made that great step. So, also this afternoon we will have the privilege of conferring an honorary degree. An honorary degree is really the highest honor that a university can bestow. It requires no classroom study, no payment of fees. All that it requires is an outstanding career. A person whose personal development and achievements act as an inspiration to us all, and you will hear during the course of the proceedings this afternoon why it is that Dame Caroline Dean has been chosen for that honour on this occasion. But let me just look ahead for a moment, because it's always the duty of the Chancellor on these occasions to warn students of the danger of the world that they're about to go into, and to encourage them to express their individuality. By the way, that's why we put everybody in exactly the same uniform, and then preach to you about individuality and being different. But there's a serious message here, and one that I think resonates particularly here in this wonderful ancient city of York, because York at one level is a tourist paradise of narrow cobbled streets and a sense of history back to the Minster and before. At another level, throughout its centuries of existence, it's also been one of the most outward-looking cities in the UK, a centre of trade. It's been a centre, I would say, since about 1830, of the central parts of the north of England because of the railway. In 1829, Stephenson's rocket won that competition to be the engine that would power railway trains. By 1839, the train line between Newcastle and London had been built, and York had been successful in lobbying for it to run through York. By about the 1850s, there were 13 trains a day running from York to London, and it was possible to post a letter in London in the morning and to have it delivered at your house in York in the afternoon. We're still, of course, advancing that superb performance in our post office today. But I give this as an illustration of how fast the railway revolution swept through this country. And we can reflect also how fast the second and third revolutions that followed the Industrial Revolution, the revolutions that brought us mass production, the revolutions that brought us automation in production, and now the so-called Fourth Revolution, which is the revolution that builds on data, on digital means, on artificial intelligence, and on robotics. We know that those previous revolutions brought enormous benefits to mankind. But we know also that they brought enormous disbenefits. They brought a widening of disadvantage between rich and poor. They took out employment from great sectors of society. And we can actually utterly reliably predict that the fourth industrial revolution will do exactly the same. It'll do it to different sectors of society. The incidence of artificial intelligence will allow us to automate jobs which previously have required quite a high level of cognitive capacity, albeit artificial intelligence is more likely to work on repetitive tasks, often requiring pattern recognition. I'll just give you one example from the healthcare model, where we now know, as a result of work that's being done in the world-famous Moorfields Eye Hospital in London using Google DeepMind, that they can take a three-dimensional image of the eye using a technology called optical coherence tomography, which would in earlier times have required a clinician to spend maybe hours to interpret across 35 layers of imaging, but which, using artificial intelligence, a computer teaching itself using a sort of model of neural networks of deep learning, that can now be done by a machine with an accuracy rate that exceeds that of the clinicians, in other words, of about 96% across 50 common eye diseases. So that we can understand AI in that sort of context brings potentially enormous benefits to mankind. We can take out cost of healthcare, which is one of the great unsustainable industries of the world. We can improve accuracy, and we can improve the service that we provide to patients and to the population. But there are other obvious areas in which AI will take out employment. And it behoves us to start thinking, what does this mean for a graduating class? Are we training people to prepare themselves for a world in which there will be no employment? Or are we training people and educating people for a world in which there is a revolution, but like every revolution, there is risk, there is danger, and there is opportunity? And I believe the opportunity is what it's possible for our graduates to seize and to take advantage of. The opportunities have to be balanced against those risks. I think it was somebody recently in a debate about the future of this country in Europe who said the public has had enough of experts. And I would say, well, after the last 2 weeks, the public's had enough of amateurs. But the future lies with experts. But the future lies with those whose intellectual agility and capacity to adapt and to change, your ability to be creative, to be innovative, and above all, an ability to work with other people in teams and in communities to help to overcome the tendency of industrial revolutions towards monopoly. A monopoly that raises costs and reduces benefits and widens income gaps and creates the sort of disparities and inequities that lay behind much of the voting pattern here in 2016 and also in Trump's America. And so it's those qualities which I do seriously believe that every York graduate will have and will take with them out into the world. And today it's my privilege as Chancellor of this university to confer degrees upon those with whom we entrust that mission. I declare open this ceremony for the conferment of awards. Thank you.
Present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biology, for Research in Development of High Erucic and Low PUFA rapeseed, Hajiwan Kaur. For research in impacts of climate change on European biodiversity, Christopher Wheatley. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanistic Biology, for research in transcriptional regulation of muscle development, Caitlin McQueen. For research in modelling and engineering of fungal fermentation, Daniel Upton. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Biology, Kimberly Barnes. For the degree of Master of Science in Industrial Biotechnology, Adam Brown. Benjamin Broom. Sam Little. Amy Stewart. For the degree of Master of Science in Molecular Medicine, Tom Ashcroft. Scott Davis. Malini Day. Roxanne Geyer. Si Ing Ho. Rida Jabba. Francesca Lazare Basallo. Lubna Nuhu Soso. Lucy Rudd. Shannon Chida Sisai. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology with a year in Europe, Laura Dunsby. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology, Matthew Wise. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences, Anna Adlam. Naomi Masolo. Theodore Mullings. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Genetics, Oliver Page.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry. For research in the use of bio-oils as antioxidants in biodiesel, Abdul Rahman Al-Wahibi. For research in dating elephants and mammoths using amino acids, Mark Dickinson. For research in structure, mechanism and engineering of racomases, Amina Fraser. For research in measurement and modelling of biogenic VOCs, Shani Garraway. For research in the degradation of lubricants and fuel due to nitrogen dioxide, Neil Harris. For research in measuring reaction rates in atmospheric chemistry, Jacob Shaw. For research in green chemistry for waste biomass valorisation, Shanati Sikkum. For research in structure and mechanism of endomonosidase, Lucas Sabala. For research in site-selective chemical modification of proteins, Richard Spears. For research in measuring critical atmospheric and biofuel reactions, Fiona Whiting. For the degree of Doctor in Philosophy and Chemistry with National Institutes, for research in cryo-electron microscopy of a bacterial virus, Oliver Bayfield. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Chemistry, Tim Garstin. Emma Thimbley. For the degree of Master of Science in Green Chemistry and Sustainable Industrial Technology, Samantha Denby. Polly-Ann Hansen. Clement Peter Howe. Yu Chong Huang. Stamatina Papageorgiou. Ekaterini Vriza. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Zoe Doggett. Ellie Field. Ibrahim Osama Saeed. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, Rowan Hancock.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Electronic Engineering. For research in Mars Conditional Neural Network for Sound Recognition, Fadi Medhat. For research in fault-tolerant task mapping in many-core systems, Colin Bonney. For research in task partitioning for foraging robot swarms, Edgar Buchanan Berumen. For For research towards a brain imaging biomarker for Parkinson's, Amir Dezavi. For research in Cloud Radio Access Network in Fronthall, Rui Lue. For research in underwater acoustic multi-user communications, Li Liao. For research in machine learning applied to neurological disorders, Chiara Picardi. For the degree of Master of Science in Audio and Music Technology, Julian Sife. Gavin Davies. James Geary. Ignacio Gomez Francisco. David Sher Ali. Harry Volker. Thomas Wood. Xiao Wu. For the degree of Master of Science in Communications Engineering, Fan Bu. Rong Chong. Pan He. Jafuru Ibrahim. Hao Yong Liu. Yingji Qian. Zhuochen Yung. For the degree of Master of Science in Digital Systems Engineering, Yung Sun. Liu Sheng. For the degree of Master of Science in Engineering Management, Annabelle Akintoye. Maha Al-Zidat. Pranchanda Balakrishna. Zimru Chen. Alziro Fitirian Siar. Penglong Gao. Yanxi Huang. Yining Jin. Jiang Huang. Qingzi Li. Xian Li. Jiang Li. Yuan Yu Yang. Zhuting Lin. Qinghua Ma. Yunfei Ma. Boyu Pan. Patrick Schultz. Ziyun Shi. Xiaolong Su. Jingyu Wang. Jinru Yang. Chiha Wang. Xue Xing. Hao Yan. Chungyi Yang. Ruiying Yi. Qifan Zhen. Zhenyu Shao. Chenjian Zhuozhe. For the degree of Master of Science in Intelligent Robotics, Mike Angus. Charlotte Ant. Ryan Edgar. Finlay Hudson. Samuel Perry. Menjki Wang. Robert Woolley. Jiaozhu Zhang. For the degree of Master of Engineering in Electronic Engineering with a year in industry, Edward Kartarski. For the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Electronic and Computer Engineering with a year in industry, Matthew Chambers. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Music Technology, Rhys Spanton.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Economics and Environmental Management. For research in agri-environmental land use in Canada and the UK, Eric Marr. For the degree of Doctor in Philosophy in Environmental Geography, for research in modelling social ecological savannas in Kenya, Rebecca Kariuki. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Science, for research in household food security in Oman, the role of women, Abir Al-Kalbani. For research in a modelling study of indoor air quality, Magdalena Cruiser. For research in microcosm standardization for pesticide testing, Verena Rydell. For research in assessment of human exposure to pesticides, Ai-Ling Wong. For research in environmental remediation by synthetic humic acid, Ting Yang. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Environment, Polly Burns. For the degree of Master of Science in Corporate Social Responsibility with Environmental Management, James Lee. Olivia McNair. Dennis Kam-Chu Wu. For the degree of Master of Science in Environmental Economics and Environmental Management, Ben Brown. James Chenhall. Marco Ventriglio. For the degree of Master of Science in Environmental Science and Management, Anoop Baines. Rebecca Bartlett. Laura Fisher. Siobhan Goodman. Samuel Grimes. Elaine Halliday. Luke Hodson. Tin Yan Ku. Oisin Mortolia. Xinghong Pen. Harry David Porter. Adam Reagan Griffith. Eleanor Turner. For the degree of Master of Science in Marine Environmental Management, Harriet Allen. Laura Al-Muteri. Matthew Bamping. Jackson Cassidy. George Andreas Havramalambidis. Jake Coyle. Ailish Crimmins. Kate Driver. Eleanor Ford. Marcus Griffith. Victoria Gutierrez Dominguez. Stephanie Haig. Amy Jenkins. Ian Jones. Christina McIntyre. Grace McNicholas. Charlotte Heather Middleton. Catherine Morris. Susanna Kate Ryder. Samuel Sheldrake. Eve Siddle Butchers. Natalie Smith. Rachel Tell. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Geography, Caitlin Bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble Anonimi will perform Words by the Real Group, followed by Road Home, arranged by Stephen Paulus.
A ladder and a ladder on a string will hold forever humanity's spellbound words, possession of the beggar and the king. Everybody, every day, you and I, we all can say words, regarded as a complicated tool, created by man, implicated by mankind. Words, obsession of the genius and the fool. Everybody, every day, everywhere and everywhere. Oh, words, find them, you can use them, say them, you can hear them, write them, you can read them, love them, feel them. Words transmitted as befitted from the start, received by all, and we're sentenced to a life with words, impression of the stupid and the smart. Everybody, every day, you and I, we all can say words. Inside your head can come alive as they're said softly, loudly, modestly or proudly. Words, expression by the living and the dead. Everybody, every day, everywhere and every way. Oh, words, find them, you can use them, say them, you can hear them, write them, you can read them, love them. Feel them, Find them, use them, say them, hear them, write them, read them, love them, fear them, find them. You can use them, say them, you can hear them, write them, you can read them, love them, fear them. Words, a letter and a letter on a string. Tell me, where is the road I can call my own, that I left, that I lost so long ago? All these years I have wandered, oh, when will I know? There's a way, there's a road that will lead me home. After wind, after rain, when the dark is done, as I wake from a dream in the gold of day, through the air there's a calling from far away. There's a voice I can hear that will lead me home. Rise up, follow me, come away is the call, with a love in your heart as the only song. There is no such beauty as where you belong. Rise up, follow me, I will lead you
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Music, for research on early 18th century concertos, Ian Hogarth. For the degree of Master of Arts, by research in music, Adam Bull. For the degree of Master of Arts in Community Music, Chan Chung-yan. Joseph Christie. Alison Cummings. Beng Xiaotong. Eleanor Gravener. Elizabeth Kirk. Chan Ellie Mansom. Jacob Ewens. Samuel Foxon. Heather Haig. Sian Haynes. Matthew Hall. He Xiu Xuan. Wang Ruqing. Wang Ziyuan. Li Ge. Li Shui. Lin Chuyun. Yu Jia. Lauren MacLeod. Aaron Moorhouse. Mark Murray. Stuart Miles O'Hara. Sarah Lucy Penny. Katherine Robson. Xue Meng Shuing. Wang Hui Wei. Sinead White. Xiao Kaiying. Charlotte Yandel. Yu Yao Hong. Tang Yao. Chung Tzu Yen. Francisco. For the degree of Master of Arts in Music Education, Instrumental and Vocal Teaching, Chen Jingwen. Mariana Cortesi. Nicholas Dixon. Despina Guntara. Sarah Heptonstall. Dominic Hogan. Prakrit Intarasuan. Lee Xiyin. Lee Dana. Wenjun, Yang Keu, Lin Yashuan, Lin Yenshan, Yu Mengyan, Yu Yating, Long Chaojun, Anna Peidu, Federico Pendenza, Rebecca Spratt, Sun Ray, Wang Shuyun, Wang Wan, Wang Yongchotsu, Yang Tsuye, Yi Zongyue, Chang Bo-wei, Chiang Chun-jie, Chiang Chen-yue, Chang Dong-yi, Zhou Chen-fei. For the degree of Master of Arts in Music Production, Nitin Bongade. Tobias Gormley. Young Park Yue. Li Haorei. Li Xiang. Kat Lovell. Lina Turtonen. For the degree of Postgraduate Diploma in Music, Naomi Meredith. Angelica Stangl. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Music, Ross Gubby.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Physics for research in X-ray spectroscopy of magnetoelectric hexaferrites, James Beavers. For research in converting CO2 to valuable chemicals using plasmas, Alexander Foote. For research in nuclear structure in carbon-12 and sodium-23 creation in stars, Nicholas Hubbard. For research in characterization of Heusler alloy thin films, Wu Hao Kai Feng. For the degree of Doctor in Philosophy in Plasma Science and Fusion Energy, for research in detachment of a hydrogen plasma column, Hannah Willett. For research in EUV lasers and the ablation of solid targets, Sarah Wilson. For the degree of Master of Science in Fusion Energy, Adam Barker. Alex Bishop. Peter Cowburn. Robert Davies. Sean Flanagan. George Holt. Lena Howlett. Y. Kwok. Hassan Mohammed. Michelle Oscar Engelbrecht. James Pepper. Marcus Renshaw. David West. For the degree of Master of Physics in Theoretical Physics, Jacob Chapley. Andrew Naden. Alex Garwood.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my enormous pleasure to introduce Annabelle Akintoye, our student orator, who will speak on behalf of the class of 2019. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2019, I give you Annabelle Akintoye.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow graduates, I ask you this. What do we do once we've graduated? Stay curious, stay present, stay engaged. Some of the first words I was told as I started my graduate scheme at Vodafone last September. Vodafone's slogan is, "The future is exciting. Ready?" But how do we stay engaged or get excited when we don't know what the future holds? I found one answer to this a few months ago, in the form of a 4-step goal-creating process, along with some questions we can ask ourselves along the way. The first step is to think of your dream goal. This is what everything we do in life is driving us towards. You may never reach your dream goal, but it is there to challenge you and keep you inspired. My dream goal is to live and work in an environment where discrimination of all its forms is no more. Here we ask, what is the big picture? What is our vision? Those of you in the audience who have already graduated or are well into your careers, I ask you, is what you're doing right now helping you get to your dream goal? If not, why not? How can what you're currently doing be tailored to achieve that goal? The second step is to think of your end goal. This is more achievable, still hard to attain, but will ultimately help you get to your dream goal. People often mistake their dream goal for their end goal. For example, a high-performing athlete might set competing in the Olympics and winning a gold medal as their dream goal. But all too often, athletes get to this point, and then they have nothing left to motivate them, nothing to stretch them. In this case, Olympic participation would be your end goal, but the dream goal could be using their platform to inspire more young athletes from their region to play sport. Your end goal needs to be a clear target, a concrete manifestation of the dream. Here we ask ourselves, what are we aiming to achieve? The third step is to think of your performance goals. These are tangible milestones that are completely in your control. Here we ask, what will I deliver in order to achieve this goal? The final step is to think of your process goals. These are what many people know as SMART goals: specific, measured, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Here we ask, what actions will I take to achieve this goal? So in answer to my original question, what do we do once we've graduated? Well, it's okay not to know. The 4-step goal process is just one of the techniques you can use to help figure it out. But for most of us, I imagine we'll simply find our own unique ways to answer this as we make our way through life. I still don't fully know the answer myself. In the past, I have wanted to be a doctor, then a professional lacrosse player. I tried my hand in rowing, piano, art, and singing, though we all try to erase this from our memories and forget it ever happened. I settled. It's been quite the roller coaster, and this is still just the beginning. However, my experiences thus far, as well as my education, have helped me form a better understanding of where I want to be in the future, even if it is by eliminating many options along the way. The University of York has set us up incredibly well for the future. We've been given a fantastic education taught by brilliant lecturers. We've learnt to be more resilient, more confident. I can now confidently take a massive detour on my way to university to avoid as many geese as possible. We've mastered the gourmet dish that is pesto pasta, and we've gained friends for life. Now, if we could all figure out what our dream goals are, what could inspire us day in, day out to get up and go to work, or whatever it is you plan on doing from today, on top of everything else, then we really are going to become a force to be reckoned with. So I leave you with this. Be curious, be present, be engaged, because the future is exciting and we've got to be ready. Congratulations, class of 2019, and thank you.
Chancellor, graduands and guests, I'm delighted to present Professor Dame Caroline Dean, an inspiring and outstanding plant scientist who has driven new understanding of fundamental processes in biology and actively encouraged a generation of women to pursue scientific careers. Plants are critical to our lives and our world. They provide us with food, medicines, paper, timber, clothes, fuel, let alone their vital ability to provide us with the oxygen we breathe. For plants, as with most organisms, timing is everything. Timing of activities over 24 hours of light and dark, but also timing of activities over the seasons. Plants flower at different times of the year, with many crops sown in the autumn to flower the following spring. Such crops require the period of cold over winter to enable them to then flower in the spring, and this process is known as vernalisation. Caroline elucidated the molecular mechanisms of vernalisation and how plants sense winter, how they remember it's winter, how they know when it is spring and hence safe to flower, and importantly, how plants adapt to winters of different lengths in different parts of the world. Remarkably, Caroline demonstrated that plants measure winter in a quantitative manner, sensing both the length of the cold period as well as the peaks of high and low temperature. As winter progresses, a single gene, which prevents flowering, is turned off in individual cells, one at a time, and hence gradually the whole plant turned off in the whole plant. Once the gene is off, it stays off, and the flowering can happen in the spring. Caroline's pioneering work on flowering time is of particular importance to our food production as our climate and hence winters change. Furthermore, her work has established some fundamental principles of how different organisms respond to the environment by regulating key genes. Caroline is a scientist with vision. She helped drive research on Arabidopsis, a small, easy-to-grow plant, realising that with researchers working on the same plant, progress would be much faster. Indeed, in 2000, Arabidopsis was the first plant genome and one of the first large genomes to be sequenced, and has revolutionised our understanding of plant biology. Caroline has been a strong advocate for women in science, an enthusiastic role model and mentor, even getting up on a soapbox to talk science in the streets of Norwich. And I'm delighted to highlight that Caroline's talent and passion for science was nurtured here at York. She received a BSc and PhD from the Biology Department. Caroline is a Fellow of the Royal Society, a Foreign Fellow of the United States National Academy and of the German Leopoldina Academy. She received the 2015 FEBS EMBO Women in Science Award, the 2018 L'Oréal UNESCO Women in Science Award, and was appointed Dame Commander in 2016. Chancellor, for her remarkable contribution to biology and commitment to gender equality in science, I present Professor Dame Caroline Dean for the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, Professor Denby, class of 2019, thank you very much. It's a real honour for me to accept this honorary degree because I owe this university so much. As Professor Denby said, I was an undergraduate here and a PhD student, and the last time I was in this hall was summer of 1979, getting my undergraduate degree. And never then would I have imagined I'd be here all these years later. And again, never again would I have imagined I would actually have had a career in research, doing really what I love to do and still love to do. And so I look back and I say to you on this day as you graduate, look at the experiences you've had at York. When I look back, I think what I learned was I really love doing experiments. So I followed my scientific passion. And I've also learned here to have the courage of my convictions. Now, let me just explain a little bit of that to you. When I was in my teens, I was very into watching marine biology programs, Jacques Cousteau. Some of you, the older audience, will know Jacques Cousteau, David Attenborough would be the equivalent now, inspired us all with biology. So I went off to university to do marine biology. That's what I was going to do. But in fact, the marine biology at university wasn't quite like Jacques Cousteau in the pictures, and it was a bit sort of boring. And we couldn't really do many experiments. And so actually, rather boldly, at the Easter of my first year, I wrote to York, a few other places, and York said, yes, you can swap over and come over, straight parallel over to the Department of Biology. And there I came in this modern biology degree that York has, with lots of experiments, molecular techniques, and I was in heaven. I remember one experiment, particularly on plants, on chloroplasts, the little green particles that the energy produces in the cells. And it worked beautifully. And that moment of joy has stayed with me and has kept me in science all this time. I did a PhD here too, and I was given fairly free license to do the project I wanted to do. I went off and thought what I was going to do and came back and did it. And so that gave me that confidence to identify a problem and follow it through. And I also had a lot of encouragement as a PhD student to go abroad. My supervisor had been a sabbatical visitor in California, and she raved about California. So off I went as a postdoctoral research fellow. Again, this was a step at a time. I had no real grand plan. So Annabelle, you know, I was just one step at a time rather than have a clear plan. But I had a great time in California. I went to work for a genetic engineering company, which was at that time an embryonic engineering company, the beginnings of plant biotechnology. Had a fantastic time, sort of became Californian, the can-do attitude. You know, met my husband. We began to think about, yes, having a career and a family, and yes, you can. It's absolutely fantastic. And that confidence kept going as we came back to England, and I started my own lab. And one of the biggest questions when you have your own lab is, what am I going to work on? And actually, I decided rather than to work on something fairly standard, I would do exactly the project that Katherine has described to you. And that was because of a shopping experience I had in California. I went into the shop and I bought some tulip bulbs. And the man in the shop said to me, now you need to put these in the fridge for 4 weeks before you sow them. And I thought, they actually need the cold? And that one comment got me reading and thinking about seasonal timing and how plants adjust their timing of the flowering and the molecular controls. And that's taken me into this journey at the John Innes Centre, which is in Norwich, a big plant molecular biology centre doing research, into epigenetic control, which is the layer above the genetic control, the actually very conserved mechanism of how genes follow instructions and how they do the right things. So I still feel incredibly privileged to be doing research. And today, of all days, as you graduate, look back on the time here and go forward, follow your passion, and have the courage of your convictions. And I wish you the very best of luck and many congratulations. Thank you.
Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, in a few moments I'll formally close this ceremony, but before I do, allow me to express some reflections on the experience of being the Chancellor and standing here and shaking hands and talking to the students who have come through. Not everybody is willing to speak to the Chancellor, by the way. It's quite a nerve-wracking voyage across the stage here. I'm sure everybody's aware of the story of the young Australian graduate who turned up for graduation wrapped up in a gown like this, under which he had hidden a kangaroo suit. And upon mounting the stage, threw it apart and started leaping up and down across the stage, as kangaroos do, as you would expect. And everything was going uproariously well until there was a large cracking sound, and he disappeared completely from sight. A hush fell across the hall, broken only by his mother, who said, "Oh, ignore him, it's just the stage he's going through." But first, congratulations to everybody as having manoeuvred your way across the stage today, and it's quite nerve-wracking. But secondly, for the comments that people did make to me, which were, "I love York." Somebody said, "This has been the greatest time of my life." And I do want you to keep that sentiment as you go on to life and to do all the things that you've been challenged to do this afternoon. Because for me, this is a great and fabulous institution that changes people's lives. And you will find throughout the next decades that friendships made here will be for life, and contacts made here will be also for life. On your behalf, I'd like particularly to thank Annabelle Akintoye, our student speaker, orator, this afternoon for such an inspiring address, which I think everybody will have taken to heart. To congratulate again our honorary graduate, Dame Caroline Dean, and also her remarkable history, which I think reflects what I said at the outset of why do we confer honorary degrees? Because we can see the way in which people's careers just bloom and blossom, if I can use the plant genetic analogy here. But what a remarkable career, and how some of us may plan our lives and careers, but most of us don't. Most of us just fall into doing stuff, and somehow, with good fortune and a bit of energy, it flourishes, and it works very well. So, Caroline, it's been a delight and great honour to be able to confer that award on you today. I think you would also wish me, particularly the graduating class, on your behalf, to thank those people who made this possible. That's the entire staff at the University of York, including the academic staff who are represented here this afternoon on the benches beside me and on the platform. These are the people who make it possible. These are the people who don't just make it possible, but make it hugely enjoyable, stimulating, who devote time and energy to making your work and your study as profitable as it has been. Will you join me, please, in thanking and congratulating those who have done that for us? And I know you would not forgive me if I didn't express our thanks to Anonimi, the small a cappella choir who sang so beautifully and so upliftingly. Shall we give them a round of applause? And so I could go on, and I probably would, but I won't. It's Friday afternoon, so just 2 more rounds of applause. One is actually from you, our graduates, because it's not just the staff that have made this possible, it's your families, brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, children, I think, in some cases, possibly grandchildren in some cases, but people have gone out of their way, people have made sacrifices, which has made it possible for you to come to York, often from very far away. I would like it if we could just express our appreciation to family who are here, but family who are abroad and not able to be with us today, but have made it so much easier for us to study well here. To our families and supporters and friends. Finally, the graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the graduates. I declare this congregation closed. Please stand.